Okay, what would a Baltic beer be that I would
Baltic
recognize?
Porter that you might recognize.
Yes, like in the stores.
Probably if you're at like a craft brewery, you might find a Baltic Porter. I couldn't really think of a Baltic Porter that you're going to find that's like from like a big brewery. Likely the closest thing you're going to find would be like a dry stout from Guinness, but they're not really the same.
Okay.
They're kind of from the same lineage. The Baltic Porter is an offshoot of the English Porter. So this beer came about from British porters being introduced to the Baltic region of Europe. The water chemistry in the Baltics, however, was a little bit different from that you would have in the UK, so it did produce a slightly different beer. Another aspect of this beer to keep in mind is that while it does have the flavor characteristics, that roastiness like the British version of the porter, it is a little bit more richer. And it also has a higher alcohol content. So it kind of sits somewhere between the English Porter and the Russian Imperial Stout.
Is that where the purification laws came into play?
It's funny, like how tax laws kind of affect, beer and how it develops. The German purity laws with the Reinheitsgebot, the Reinheitsgebot,
Reinheitsgebot.
I obviously don't speak German. That was basically a law that limited beer making to three different ingredients at the time. Now it's 4 because we know about microbiology and we know that yeast is an important ingredient. But
is that still into effect?
Yeah, it is. In Germany, you cannot sell a product. You cannot sell a product and call it beer in Germany if it has anything other than water, malt, barley, or yeast in it. If it has something else, you can call it a malted beverage, but you can't call it a beer.
Okay, well, that makes me think of malted beverages I see at the store, but I can't quite think of them. Help me out, Thomas.
Like a Smirnoff?
Yes.
Premium malt beverage.
So if I had a Smirnoff in Germany, they would be like, fuck these shit.
I mean, we would say fuck these shit in America if you were drinking a Smirnoff too. So, I don't know why they have to be a German thing.
Touche.
So, yeah. Hope you enjoyed listening to that snippet of conversation that Brian and I had while we were brewing. By the way, that was Brian's first brew day, so congratulations, Brian. Hopefully we got you hooked on to brewing. Just wanted to clarify a few things from the video because I was kind of just talking and shooting at the hip. The Reinheitsgebot, I can say Reinheitsgebot. That's the main thing I want to clarify, is that I can say the word. I just can't remember it. I can only actually say it when it's written down right in front of me. Generally, in conversation, if this kind of comes up in beer talk, I'll just call it the German purity laws, which the word does translate directly to purity order. So just to clarify a few things, I did miss saying hops during that last rundown of the 4 ingredients allowed to be used in German beer making. And so just to say that list again for you, it is water, hops, malt, and yeast. You can't use no more, no less to make a beer according to German rules. We also mentioned that a Smirnoff would be considered a malt beverage. In America, we call those types of beverages premium malt beverages. But I would just like to point out that the beer that we were actually brewing on the day that this was recorded would also not be considered a beer in Germany. We were creating an American cream ale. This beer contains corn traditionally. The recipe that I created that we were using has both corn and flaked barley. Now, I know that the corn would disqualify this beer from being considered a beer in Germany, but I'm not so sure about the flaked barley, since it is still barley, the main ingredient used in beer, just in a different form. It hasn't been malted, it's been flaked out. So I'll have to do a little bit of research and figure out whether or not that would actually disqualify it from being a German beer. Now, if you know the answer to that, please leave it in the comments or shoot me a message and let me know. That would be great and maybe save me a little bit of time. Yeah, if you like the video, just give it a thumbs up, share it. Could say I was just kind of shooting at the hip when we were talking, and Brian picked up the phone and decided to start recording, so edited it down, and there it is. So this is Thomas signing off.